This photo was taken seconds before disaster by the homie Mrballen. What's good? How you day going? Morning, evening, night, whenever you're watching this video. I'm gonna do a little bit of talking. You're more than welcome to fast forward here. But it's just crazy because I thought I already watched this one, but I actually have not, whatever. So I was like, oh, let's check it out. A freaking photo, man. Even though I already known this ish, it's just now I'm just thinking out loud, whatever. How powerful a freaking still image a photo can be. Because we always hear the saying like, oh, pictures worth 1,000 words. Was like, oh, let's capture the moment, whatever, right? So you will see this picture later on if you unfamiliar with it or you don't know what's going on, but oh yeah, I know this picture, this is just so and so doing so and so. It's like, no, let me tell you the actual backstory behind this picture. It's like, damn, you never ever look at that picture the same, you never ever look at that picture the same ever again. It's like, yo, I never knew that. Even though this is information we've all already known, at least I assume. I don't know, it's just lately I've been loving watching videos about photos, or at least photos with the backstories from Lazy Masquerade, Mrballen. It's one on TikTok. I watched it. I don't know him by name. I just be watching them. But yo, either way it go though, didn't mean to talk your ears off. Yo, you want to check out the original video? Link will be in the description below. But let's go.
Stick around to hear about what I'm doing with Mr. Beast. Today's story sounds like a terrifying urban legend that couldn't possibly be true, but it is true, and it happened recently. But before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload 1 or 2 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, the next time the like button is running late for their flight, offer to give them a ride to the airport, but make sure you first sneak several 3.5-ounce containers of toothpaste into their luggage. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's.
Giving people a ride to the airport is like the driving equivalent of helping someone move. I hate doing both of them. I don't know why. It started with a whistle. Some information may be inaccurate as this is a developing story. He did say it was recent.
In 2017, 27-year-old Lydia Makarchuk left her home country of Ukraine and moved to Bracknell, which is a town just outside of London. Shortly after moving into her new apartment, Lydia went out and got a job as an accountant at a local hotel, and then after that, Lydia pretty much swore off her social life and instead just focused exclusively on working hard and saving money. The one reprieve she got from work was going to church on Sundays. 2 years later, Lydia was at her church enjoying the coffee hour that always followed the Sunday sermon when another member of her church, who she didn't really speak to, this 41-year-old man named Norbert Varga, approached her and kind of awkwardly complimented her shoes. And she was so flattered by this that it opened up a friendly conversation between the two of them. And during this conversation, Lydia was pleasantly surprised to find out that Norbert was an expat too. An expat is someone who lives outside of their native country. Norbert had moved to the UK in 2018, so that's 1 year after Lydia had moved to the UK, and he came from Hungary, which shares a border with Ukraine. And just like Lydia, when he got to the UK, he kind of put all his energy into his work and trying to save money. He was a radio technician and a photographer. And so the two spend the rest of this coffee hour chatting and enjoying each other's company. And then afterwards, when they left the church and they both got home, they both found themselves thinking about the other. There was clearly an attraction there. And so the following Sunday, they both very eagerly rushed back to church in order to spend more time together. And sure enough, during that coffee hour, they spent the whole time together just chatting it up. And then afterwards, they exchanged phone numbers and made plans to get together outside of church. They were going to go on a date. And so the rest, as they say, is history. 2 years after Norbert complimented Lydia's shoes, they got married in Bracknell. And while the wedding was great, unfortunately, none of Lydia's family members, who were all in Ukraine, none of them could attend the actual wedding. And so the newlywed couple decided the way they would handle that is their honeymoon would be spent in Ukraine. That way Lydia's family could celebrate their wedding as well. For a variety of reasons, this honeymoon trip to Ukraine kept getting pushed back, but finally in September of 2021, everything lined up, everyone was available, and so Norbert and Lydia rushed to the airport and they hopped on a flight. And during this flight,
I was a little worried, man. We got to add. I'm gonna let it play real quick. It was funny. She kind of got a nose like mine. But look, see, you can still pull with that mug. See, I'll be telling y'all. We ain't hear about that. But look, either way I go, though, dog. I just got done watching this documentary on Netflix called Sins of My Mother, or My Mother's Sin. So my mental is a little other places right now because I was like, oh, why did it not showing up? Like, did he? All right, I'm gonna let it finish though. So let me create that separation in my brain because these are different humans living a different life. I know I bet they both came on a Sunday best that next Sunday though. This old. I had this since last year. No, you did.
Finally, in September of 2021, everything lined up, everyone was available, and so Norbert and Lydia rushed to the airport and they hopped on a flight. And during this flight to Ukraine, Lydia remembers being so excited, specifically about her husband finally getting a chance to spend some time with her 29-year-old younger brother, Miroslav. Lydia was very close with her brother, and so it mattered to her greatly that he and her husband had a good relationship. But to that point, because of the great physical distance between the UK and Ukraine, the two had really not had that much interaction, and so they really didn't know each other very well. And so this trip was really important to Lydia, and Miroslav, he really picked up on that because he put together this camping trip for the end of their stay in Ukraine, where he knew he'd be able to step aside with Norbert and chat with him and get to know him a little bit. And so that was kind of like the fail-safe, where if he and Norbert did not get a chance to speak all week because they were visiting with so many people, they would have a chance to at the end of the week on this camping trip. So after a few hours of flying, Lydia and Norbert touch down in Ukraine, and they make their way to Lydia's family's house where they're going to be staying for the week. And that night, and for the next several days, the couple was swamped with several family reunions and meetups with old friends that hadn't seen Lydia in years. And so Norbert and Miroslav were not getting any time to themselves, and Lydia really knew that. And so she and Norbert began looking forward to this camping trip because that not only represented a kind of peaceful break from the chaos of all these reunions, but it also did represent the one chance they knew Miroslav and Norbert would get to interact with each other. And so finally, September 15th, the end of the week, it came, and it was time to go on this camping trip. And so Lydia and Norbert and Miroslav and 9 other family members, they all packed up their tents and their camping belongings, and they loaded up a couple of cars, and they drove over to the base of the...
It sounds so beautiful too. I want to go. But I don't, no. Forgot about the photo. Never mind. I'm good. I'm gonna chill today. My bad. Let me go back.
One chance they knew Miroslav and Norbert would get to interact with each other. And so finally, September 15th, the end of the week, it came, and it was time to go on this camping trip. And so Lydia and Norbert and Miroslav and 9 other family members, they all packed up their tents and their camping belongings, and they loaded up a couple of cars, and they drove over to the base of the Carpathian mountain range. This mountain range, which stretches for nearly 1,000 miles across Eastern and Central Europe, are very popular amongst tourists because it's stunningly beautiful. Everything is green and lush.
Damn, that I ain't gonna lie. I thought that was a Google image. That's a real photo. That you cannot tell me that's not beautiful. I know a lot of y'all be scared of mountains and hiking and ish. Even when I be hearing like the mysterious stories of like what happened in that mug or the notorious killers, the serial killers that be in that mug, I'm still going.
1,000 miles across Eastern and Central Europe are very popular amongst tourists because it's stunningly beautiful. Everything is green and lush, and there are these crystal clear lakes and breathtaking waterfalls and all these amazing animals running around, and there's no mosquitoes, and they have these really cool hikes that bring you up to these very impressive overlooks. And so that night, Miroslav had made reservations for this one campsite, this very popular campsite that was up in this clearing, not too far up the mountain, and it had this great view down to the forest below, and because it was in a clearing, it had this unobstructed view up to the sky, where in this area, you could look up and just see stars in every direction. And so when Lydia and the rest of this group arrived in the parking lot of this mountain range, they were all really excited to get up to this campsite and just enjoy being there. And so they park their cars, they get their gear out, they find the trailhead, and then they begin hiking up the mountain. And about 2 hours later, they arrive at this clearing. They find their campsite, which was marked by this small fire pit underneath a couple of trees. And so they go over and they set their tents up, and some people go out and get some firewood. And then before long, a fire was made, and this group of 12 people that had not seen each other in so long, they just sat down and began enjoying each other's company. They put tea on, they were swapping stories. It was really just this
I'm sorry. That is so beautiful. I ain't sorry, it's my video, dog. But look, you can watch the original if you want. Man, look at this. This is beautiful, man. They got the hammock. They hanging out. They fam. They deep. When I do stuff like this, though, I do like when we deep because that way some ish do got a line. At least the people I roll with, I know, oh, we jumping. But look, though, got the fire going. Oh, this is going to be beautiful at night. That water is so amazing. Also, was the photo with the little water, was that spruced up a bit at all? Because it looked just like the beginning of that one show that used to come on a long time ago. You get the little girl, she run up with the pigtails and I think she had a basket. I don't know. I just knew when I woke up that time I need to go back to sleep. All right,
to
no more
get up
stopping.
to this campsite and just enjoy being there. And so they park their cars, they get their gear out, they find the trailhead, and then they begin hiking up the mountain. And about 2 hours later, they arrive at this clearing. They find their campsite, which was marked by this small fire pit underneath a couple of trees. And so they go over and they set their tents up, and some people go out and get some firewood. And then before long, a fire was made, and this group of 12 people that had not seen each other in so long, they just sat down and began enjoying each other's company. They put tea on, they were swapping stories. It was really just this wonderful time. And then around 8 p.m., the sun started to set, at which point this huge group just stopped and enjoyed this beautiful sunset. And then once the sun had gone down, there were 2 kids that were there on this trip. And so they were put to bed in their tent. And then the remaining 10 adults just kind of hung out by the fire and enjoyed each other's company. And it was actually during this second half of the night that Norbert and Miroslav finally really got a chance to just chat with each other. So for about an hour, they were talking to each other, and Lydia is just watching this happen, and she couldn't be happier. This is like the perfect ending to this trip. And then around 9 p.m., Norbert stands up. Lydia sees him stand up, and he tells the group he's going to run back to his tent, which was a ways away from the campfire, and he was going to get his camera. And so Lydia said, okay, no problem. And she remembers watching him walk off into the distance, because when you're at the campfire, if you're looking away from the campfire, everything is pitch black in that direction. And so she watches him disappear into the darkness, and then she and her brother and everyone else just kind of turn back towards the campfire. And then all she remembers about what happens next is she heard.
We gotta add. I'm gonna let it play real quick. Sound like she's still alive though. I'm just trying to piece together ish, and I'm kind of. Let me mute this real quick. I'm kind of right now. I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth. I'm assuming at this point, I'm gonna let the video finish. But man, did he go back to get something and he's about to do something to this family? Hold on, my bad while the ad's playing. I just spilled my damn water. Let me get a towel real quick. Yo, and for someone who's really close to their sister, oh, I 100% understand why Lydia really wants this freaking relationship to happen, this conversation to happen, everything to go down with her brother and her fiance. 1 second, dang it, I'm clumsy as ish. Hold up, dude. We're gonna get back to the video, my bad, real quick. But fun fact, when I was little, when we used to go out to eat, my mom used to always, me only, out of 5 kids, she's always take my cup and move it away from me while I eat, because she's like, nope, your clumsy ass gonna spill it. I don't think I ever ate a meal to this day without spilling my drink, dog. Damn, it's broke. If you want to donate to the United Negro Fund and help a brother get a keyboard, no, I'll play. I got money. I go buy my own. Don't trip. You see that money's gonna go to some weed.
And so she watches him disappear into the darkness, and then she and her brother and everyone else just kind of turn back towards the campfire. And then all she remembers about what happens next is she heard a whistling sound. And at first it was very faint, but it started to get very, very loud. And when it got loud, she tried to kind of figure out where it was. But before she could, suddenly something hit her in the face, predominantly hit her in the nose. And as soon as it did, she went blind, she went deaf, and then she felt herself on the ground, and she has no idea what's going on. And all she can remember thinking is, oh my God, something horrible has happened to me. I might die. I don't know what's happening, but I might die. And so she started praying for herself to survive whatever was happening to her. And then her hearing started to come back just a little bit. Her vision was still totally blurred. She could only kind of tell where the fire was because it was bright. But her hearing, it started to come back. And that's when she heard moaning coming from somewhere near her. And so she's thinking, okay, whatever horrible thing has happened to me has happened to other people too. And so instead of just praying for herself, she began praying for everyone who was at this campsite. And so as her hearing is getting louder and louder, and she's hearing more and more moaning and crying happening all around her, she suddenly hears her husband screaming her name. Her vision is still gone, but she knows it's him, and he lands right behind her and he grabs her and he's just repeating her name over and over and over again. And then Lydia manages to kind of choke out to her husband, what happened? And there's a pause, and then Norbert says to her, it's bad. It's really bad. It would turn out their campsite was on a battlefield from World War I, and buried underneath the soil, right under their fire pit, was an unexploded bomb from World War I. Meaning, for over 100 years, countless campers have arrived at this camp.
I'm not gonna lie, I was just thinking about the same thing. My mind was like, wait a minute, yo, she's alive. I am so sorry. But I really went into history mode. I was like, wait, but think about how long this has been sitting there. Fuck. Didn't mean to overreact on you there, but man, I ain't gonna lie, I love history-ish, especially when it's physically proven. I love it. I hate the kind of history that I can't find no information on to see if it's real, like physically. The odds of you picking that particular spot to light your fire on. What the hell?
Bomb that they couldn't see, and each fire gradually eroded the outer metal casing of this explosive until finally that night in September, with Lydia and 11 of her loved ones nearby, their little fire finally was it. It pushed through that last little bit of the casing and it ignited the bomb and it detonated. That whistling that she heard was the sound of the fire finally cutting through that casing and being exposed to the fire. And then that thing that struck her in the face, that hit her right on the nose, that was almost certainly a piece of the bomb itself. So shrapnel that was cutting through her face. And then the moaning she heard was primarily her brother, who was right next to her. Lydia would be gravely wounded, but she would survive. As for her brother and another man who was not named, they would not survive. Here is a picture that was taken of the group literally minutes before.
My bad. I thought that was her brother sitting right next to her. I was just so happy that they survived. I thought at the hospital that was her brother next to her. Damn.
She heard was primarily her brother, who was right next to her. Lydia would be gravely wounded, but she would survive. As for her brother and another man who was not named, they would not survive. Here is a picture that was taken of the group literally minutes before this bomb detonated.
Damn. Life, the decisions you make. This is basically, I'm about to talk about the butterfly effect. We all know I love this ish. It's crazy. The decisions you make, it's crazy how it leads you down these different paths, and you have no idea what's down there. We're just living life, making these moves, making decisions. These are my choices, blah blah blah. It's like you have no idea what's gonna take you. The reason why I say that, because it's like I said, they just happen to pick this specific spot. They just happen to also light their fire in this particular spot. Legit, he just happened to like, oh, I'm gonna go take a picture real quick. Not at all blaming, dog. There's no way he could have predicted this. Chill out. I'm just legit saying he just happened to, oh, I'm about to go take a picture, so I back away from the scene. I'm about to go take a picture, so I back away from the scene, take a picture. Whoa, this happens. What? Because I ain't gonna lie, at first I thought he was gonna grab like a gun and just like went crazy on the family. So I was like, oh shit. No more stopping. Damn. For real?
In 2015, I was in the military, and me and my unit were sent overseas to do some training. Now, normally, training for us consisted of doing things both on the land and also in the oceans. But when we got to this particular country, we were told by this country that we were not allowed to go in their waterways unless we had head-to-toe complete full-body protection. And even then, it was still pretty risky. And so naturally, we said, why? And they said, because our waterways are too toxic. They are too polluted. We were skeptical because previously we had dove and been in waters that were really, really hazardous. And so the idea that some trash was going to stop us from doing any training in the water seemed far-fetched. But when we got there and we walked down to the edge and looked out at the water, we were shocked. The water looked black from all the oil and pollution, and amidst this black sludge were thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces of plastic just bobbing on the surface in all directions. It was truly staggering. But what really amazed me was nobody was trying to fix this. There was no attempts being made to clean up this waterway. In fact, the opposite was happening. Because this waterway had gotten so bad, people had just kind of given up on it and just continued to dump trash and pollutants into this waterway. And so we would go out on our boats into this water. We would not go in it, but we'd be out in the water and we would look down and we would just see dead sea lions and dead birds and other dead marine animals just floating on the surface. And they had all most likely died from either eating plastic or getting trapped in plastic or consuming some other toxic pollutant. I mean, literally, their homes have become a death trap because of this plastic and pollution crisis. And so a few weeks ago, when I was approached by Mr. Beast and his team to potentially help support their massive ocean cleanup.
Yo, and I know a lot of people be hating on Mr. Beast, but I ain't gonna lie, dude is fire to me. And honestly, let's be real. Only reason why people really hate him is because he's hella huge. Whenever in any profession. I don't care what someone become like super huge. That's what it is. Everybody's gonna hate you or love you. It never seems like it's any in between. But either way it go though, every time he does like his charity works, like the events he picked, the type of ones he do, I always love. Like, man, especially when he do the ones with the trees, like freaking fire, dog. Cause I keep trying to use my keyboard, the ish ain't working, but man, that is crazy, dog. Legit, just look at that. I'm not even like one of those huge animal people, like, oh god, the animal's more important than humans. I'm not one of those, but I ain't gonna lie, when I see pictures like that, it do be like, damn, that's effed up, dog. Fucking human. Shit, eat your ass.
And his team to potentially help support their massive ocean cleanup that they call Team Seas, I immediately said yes. They are trying to raise $30 million by the end of this year in order to remove 30 million pounds of plastic and trash from the oceans, as well as from rivers and also from beaches. This project has the potential to truly change the planet, but we need your help.
Like
every donation
right?
counts. I mean it. If you donate even just a single dollar to Team Seas, a full pound of trash and plastic will get removed from the ocean, guaranteed. So if you want to be a part of Team Seas with me and Mr. Beast and hundreds of other content creators and YouTubers and people all around the planet, go to teamseas.org today and give what you can. Thank you.
Mrballen, he like the people at Walmart. I'd have donated to like 20 damn charities because of this dude. I'm about to start not looking at dog. Like, hey, yo, bro, nah, I'm good. Yeah, walk faster. Hey, I can clean your shoes, bro. Nah, I'm good, bro. Who's your internet provider? Oh, I'm good. I don't use the internet. I can clean them shoes for you. Oh, them ones in the mall, they be trying to clean your shoes, boy. Dog, they be getting me, dog. I don't like them ones no more. I think Stronghold was like the most fire one donated to, though, because they sent you a shirt. Hey, that shirt hella comfy, too, though. It's like a subscription, though. I ain't know. I was like, who the fuck keep charging me a month? Damn, but back to the story, though, man. That legit sucks. It was even his idea, planning a beautiful trip, man. It was like, all right, we're gonna have this trip so that way the family can get together. And I even like, I love how it was put together. It was like, because I understand we have not seen Lydia in forever, so we're all just gonna enjoy this and have a great time. So I know it's gonna be really hard for me to just find out who this person is, and you can hear it, like, yo, him and his sister had a close ass connection. And of course she saw that, so it was like, all right, you know what? I don't know, I'm guessing that he's guy used guy this why, or maybe just because this is the person I really freaking love. I really want you two to talk, and I want you to get in his head. I want him to get in your head, find out what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, right? So I 100% understood that, man. I lived with my sister for like 10 years. My entire time in Texas, basically, I lived with her. Really close to my sister. So I was like, man, I understand where this is going. So the fact that he set this up, it's like, all right, damn, this is even the trip he set up for everyone. And then he's the loser in the situation. I was like, yep, this freaking sucks. And of course, they said the other person, but they didn't say, I think it was another dude, right? They said they didn't say his name, though. Well, rest in peace, though, man. At this point, I'm just rambling off, man. I ain't gonna lie. I thought it was gonna be like the trees was gonna cave in, something mysterious was gonna happen. The fiance was gonna do something. I thought it. I ain't gonna lie to you, being honest, but that ain't what happened. Damn, man. This is something we talked about before, but it always just mind boggled the ish out of me. The amount of stuff that I do not know, and I just wonder what's under me, like at where I stand. I'm talking about like deep under, man, because it's legit how it's gonna work. Is, you know, we're just gonna build over it. Water's gonna flood, build over water. It's just gonna keep on going to shit just get buried, and then civilization starts again. So I just be wondering, like, man, what is under? And maybe in this particular spot, maybe it's nothing. But we ain't about to go there. Forget it, yo. The planet is freaking crazy, man. The fact that was there that long, like, damn. And people probably legit already stepped on it and went past it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it was just a fire. But yo, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here before I talk your ear off, because we all know why I would do it. All right, but definitely rest in peace, man. Enjoy y'all day, morning, evening, night, whenever you're watching this video. But I'm out.